Hi, it's Hazel. Welcome to my channel, Hazel Anaka Design. Now, this video is just being done a few hours later than the last blush journal update. And when I left you, I was going to, okay, let me back up. In that video, excuse me, we were doing some page edges with either threading things through the holes on some pages, gluing down some ruffle, or punching different things. And when I turned off the camera, I thought I'm going to be working on the Irma Bombeck hardcover that I'm using as a base for my next journal. And I will get to that in a minute. But I discovered that there are several considerations, maybe even, well, I don't want to say issues because then that implies problems. And they're not problems. They're just things to be aware of and things to deal with in a sensible, conscious way. Oh, I didn't say welcome. If you're new, welcome. If you're an existing subscriber. So let's start where we are. I even forgot I had this cover in the works because I've got stuff piled all around me. If there's an invasion, I have blush stuff surrounding me. So this is just one of about 5 or 6 covers that I did probably a year or two ago with patchwork pieces of fabric, some sheer stuff that I overlaid on fabric, and whether or not you can see it, some slow stitching. So I've highlighted some of those petals. I've done some stitching around the perimeter of certain squares. I did these threads on these little circles. Here I've outlined those flowers, blanket stitch, and I very much enjoyed doing it at the time, but of course it is very labor intensive. And this is what the backside looks like, which is, if you can imagine, kind of bumpy, especially where the knots are. So that became a consideration. Now, I will tell you what I pulled out. I don't know if you've seen this. It comes on a gigantic roll. Like, come on. Talk about reducing packaging, people. Anyway, a felt roll, $1.75. 50, so almost 5 feet and almost 12 inches wide. I'm throwing that away. But the stuff is very, very thin. Like, I'm sure you can almost see my hand through there. So, I mean, it has a purpose, but I don't know. I guess the reason I'm considering using it here is because it fits nearly perfectly. Oh, and what I did since, if I did show you this before, what I've since done is zigzag around the edges to hold it all together, as well as adding this narrow strip of lace at each end. And that was stitched on. Yeah, stitched on. I don't know why it's not. Oh, I could use a little dab of glue there. Maybe I should do that right now. I hope that you are well. I hope you're enjoying this series. And I think that if you pay careful attention, if you watch these videos, regardless of how long they may go, chances are, like, I think that you're going to learn quite a bit simply because we're doing multiple styles here, and that means multiple chances to learn something. Okay, that's my front cover. Okay, so between these two bits of lace, I could put this in quite nicely without having to trim anything. And we know that that's just a bonus, man. Now, I can still see through it. I mean, that's okay because I am going to put a piece of cardstock. Initially, I thought about a piece of fabric, and then I thought, no, let's do something a bit different. And this is kind of a wild and crazy cover, so we can go kind of wild and crazy on the inside as well. Now, initially, I was talking about this, the spray Fabri-Tac, and how I was going to shroud my whole area here with protective something or other, maybe plastic tablecloth, to make sure that I don't spray everything in sight. I've decided I'm not using that because I'll explain as we get talking, about the other cover. I think what I will do is, for the time being, well, I don't really want to cut this, but yet it's kind of a nuisance that I've got this whole other 3.5 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet in my lap. Maybe I should just kind of roughly do this and make my life a little bit easier. I'll just pull it a little beyond the edge because who knows, nothing here is going to be totally square. So I'm just, and it will need trimming, but that's all right. And then I can get rid of this thing. So I don't know if I'm just, I guess I hope I'm definitely more experienced than I used to be. I am, I think, maybe not quite as, chop, gotta get it done, maybe rushing ahead without thinking stuff through. That, I think, is why some of these decisions are taking a bit longer, because I know the possibilities. I know what I've tried before. I know what I haven't tried. And I know that sometimes if you just plow ahead, you kind of shoot yourself in the foot and miss an opportunity to maybe do something different. Now, I have been organizing, and one of the things that I discovered is that I have about 1 million feet and only slightly fewer rolls of tape. I've got masking tape, I've got clear packing tape, I've got double-sided tape, I have carpet tape, I have medical tape, I have cloth tape, I have fabric tape. Well, I guess cloth and fabric is the same thing. And and that's, talk about spools and the big diameter they use to make you think that you're getting so much product. Of course, we're too smart for that. We look at the actual yardage, not the diameter, or the diameter of the roll. Anyway, some of those dumb things with double-sided tape have a 4-inch circle and a wee bit of tape around the edge. Well, that takes, anyway. I was thinking momentarily of trying to use double-sided tape just to get rid of some of those spools and, call it a day. But I don't know. I don't really trust it. I've seen videos. I don't remember whose or when or what, but I have seen people use double-sided tape. And of course, then there's a discoloration and staining that can sometimes happen. Now, I can't remember if it was on paper or fabric, but either way, I didn't really want that to be an issue. So I think all I'm really hoping to do at this point is sandwich this between the cardstock that I've chosen. Now this is a 12 by 12. Okay, there is text on here, so we don't want it upside down. So this will be the inside layer. And of course, there will be something to cut off, and of course we'll do that at the end. But again, a pretty nice fit. And, well, it's two-sided. Actually, I guess it could almost be... maybe I'll stick with my original choice. I was going to show you some of the other papers I considered, and then I thought, no, why, how does that help you? I mean, it tells you, I guess, my thought process, but it doesn't help you in the sense that you don't have what I have, and I don't have what you have. Okay, so I've got my little wax paper here, and I think all I'm going to do at this point, because really, once this is in here, I'm going to be a little bit away from the edge, hopefully. Because this is so thin, it's not doing a great deal of protection of those, or masking of those knots. But by the time I add the paper, cardstock, there might have been some options that were not cardstock, but I thought that would be a waste of paper and time. Oh my goodness. It's alive. So all I'm going to do is lay down some Yoo-hoo strategically, knowing that once it's sandwiched, I brought a brand new, oh well. Once it's sandwiched in here, this isn't going anywhere. And there will probably, of course, signatures will also get stitched through. So, it's not, I don't have to be too, oh, yuck. Brand new tube tends to be a bit gooey. And it doesn't help that it's getting caught on some of the rougher bits of stitching here. I don't think I'm going to go really too close to the edge, simply because I can put some Fabri-Tac or art glitter glue or something that has a more instant grab once I have this positioned. So this just gives me a little bit of working time, and some kind of a bit of hold until my sandwich is done. Okay, that's probably good enough. And did I think of bringing some wet wipes over here? No, I did not. So we'll use the friction method for hand cleaning. Okay. Still right side up. Not that it matters for this stuff. So because I can see what's closest to me better than I can see way over there, I'm going to start here. And I'm basically just trying to line it up with, and I'm going to be just a hair inside. Like, I don't want a little pink sliver of this showing. And because the measurements are sort of right on here, in other words, this is that width, the felt is that width, the paper is that width. It's not like I can really put in a patch. I mean, I could, I suppose, if I had to, but I don't want to. Okay, again, we want this to be right side up. I should, before I go on to the paper, I should probably trim this off. And maybe I'll do it from the inside so that I don't cut off these little fuzzy bits, because little fuzzy bits are cute. And so I don't, end up leaving it too long in places and then have to go back in. So as you see these covers and styles of journals evolving, I'd be curious for you to let me know in the comments, what your favorite might be. Obviously this one will have the most labor-intensive cover. Okay. Whoa, that's kind of crooked there. Let's do a little better. Again, it's... Now, I have done covers in the past where I've... now it looks like a bunny trail in the woods. Thank goodness there's going to be a layer covering this up. Anyway, I was starting to say that I had used batting and that heat and bond in past covers, past projects. And, there's a precision that sort of comes with that. So we're hoping for a fairly good grab there. And the nice thing is, it does, skinny as that is, it does add a little something, and it covers up a bit of the knots, and it will be obviously a soft cover, which is quite different. Okay, I can see felt there. So now I'm going to have to make sure that however I put this paper down, it has to be in such a way that it's going to cover that pink. And it's very convenient for moi that they printed these lines on here. However, Mama didn't raise no fool, so I am not going to take a chance that the paper was printed straight and that my cover is totally square. I'm going to go, I'm using the same scissors. I better make a decision. Oh, I don't know which are the better ones here. These are easier to use. Let's turn these into paper scissors. Okay. I don't want to, I'd rather trim than have it end up being too short and then feel like a fool. I'm just cutting along one line below where I think I need to be. And look at, I've got this lovely thing here to do something with. Now, I don't know, did I ever show you? Okay, before I do that, let me show you something kind of clever. I maybe did show this earlier, but it does. I still have all those punches and stuff that I used in the last video. I'm going to lose some stuff in the process, but I wanted to show you. let me drag it over kind of gingerly. This is one of those vertical office things, and this way I can put, I hope you can see, cardstock at the back and wrapping paper and doilies and that might be backing paper and then some copy paper and then this thing I just stuck in there, some signature pages, and it all is, at least for me, doesn't help that it's wax paper, some envelopes, some other stuff here. it makes it easier for me to do it this way than to be a stacker-upper. Because when you do a stacker-upper, you can't see quite as clearly what your choices are. So, anyway. Oh, I should have turned the thermostat down. I've got a register right beside me. And when the door is closed, it gets very warm in here very quickly. Especially when you're doing something grueling. Okay, maybe this time I'll turn this upside down. Print is going that way still. This is the top, this is the bottom. So that I'll start gluing this in from the top. Gluing this down, I mean, not in. And you know what? Here's a little itsy bitsy sliver. But I'm not going to worry about that because I could just ink that with some tattered rose or something and you won't even know it's there. Okay. Let us use maybe I'll use this again, except around the very edge. I'll go in with the big guns. Maybe I'll even use that Fabri-Tac. Again, this is probably overkill. This is not going to really be going anywhere. I will be sewing signatures through it at some point. Oh, you know what? It just occurred to me, but it's too late now. That's what I mean about thinking about all the possibilities ahead of time. I have it upside down. I'll tell you, after I get this critical part done, I'll tell you what I'm referring to. And I'm going to try to be about 1/4 or so of an inch from the edge. If I have to go back in with a third glue, like art glitter glue, then I will. It's just that I don't want to have it really ooze out and then, pick at it for half a day. And this stuff actually comes off quite nicely, but I mean that's kind of crooked there, but that's where art glitter glue will rescue. Okay, so remember I've got the top facing me, which means that the print needs to be upside down. Ooh, and it's not. Okay, so that will be right side up when we go to it. So again, I have a wee bit of a grace here. Both with the, okay, I see. Both with the glue stick as well as the Fabri-Tac. Okay, so, see that little sliver there? I might still be able to get in there and trim. But everywhere else kind of looks pretty good. Oh, maybe I should be over a smidge. But again, there reaches a point where you just have to say good enough. And you have to get her down. Get her down, get her done. You know that I have a playlist called Get Her Done. That was where I was doing videos on projects that had been lurking around for quite a while. You see that? I think, did I say these are? I don't know what I said these are. Oh, I think I said these are going to be paper. scissors. And felt, of course, is not paper, but hey, I don't want to really nick that cardstock if I can help it. And again, I know that some of you are thinking, why are you bothering with this? I'll tell you that if you are a close listener, you will notice that I almost never use the word junk journal, because I'm thinking if I'm using materials, whether I bought them new or used, whether I okay, I need some glue in there. Whether I well, I guess I should trim this while I still can. This is not junk. This represents a significant investment of time. So if I cut right along that felt, I should be okay, right? Yeah, that'll be my guideline. A significant investment of time, blood, sweat, and tears. So there's nothing junky about this. So that's why I don't say it. I wish, I mean, nobody consulted me when the name was introduced. But I do think that in most cases, we do ourselves a disservice. It sounds like we're making something that has no value when nothing could be further from the truth. That can probably be something when it grows up. Okay, so now I need to get in there. That's a little knot. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, I think I should have probably left that lying down. I will now, now I suppose what I could do if I really felt like it, that might be the simplest to be honest, is sew around here one more time. Like, is another row of stitching on something with this much stitching going to be an issue? Okay, I obviously don't have the sewing machine right here. I will do this, and if I still feel like I'm not getting the finish that I need, then obviously I will reconsider my next move. Okay, and you'll remember that I didn't use Fabri-Tac. I just used a glue stick on that first layer. Now I'm adding, whatchamacallit, Fabri-Tac now between the felt and the cardstock, as well as along the other layer. I mean, you know, right to the cover part, to get everything glued down the way it should be. So yeah, if you agree with my opinion about junk versus not junk, maybe be aware of how you refer to things, because it'll only change if we change it. And I don't want to debate anybody about this. It's my opinion. It's my, let's tuck that little knot in. It's, I just know that all that effort that I put into that stitching is anything but junk. Okay, let's go here. Now it doesn't help that I keep prying this up. And I don't think I really have much in the way of clamps here. I don't know what these two are really going to do, but I'll just try to apply some pressure. Oh, and as soon as I'm done with this, I will also show you how that, remember the stuff I put in the measuring cup with the dregs of the avocado dye? You'll see exactly what I was talking about, because it is, I'll see it oozed out there. It is a few hours later. So you'll see exactly what I was trying to, you'll see with your own eyes what I slopped some over here. The good thing about this is that it does roll off. If only this little guy would help hold stuff down instead of just lying there. Anyway, I think I painted a fairly good visual picture. But when you see, you'll know exactly what I was talking about. Getting kind of gobbed up here. You know, I have more packages of wipes. Could I not bring one over here? That looks like pretty good adhesion. Well, maybe not. I was going to say pretty good grab. Come on. So, whoops, I have no idea how much time has elapsed since I started this. But I think that this is a valuable... Oh, I know what I was going to tell you. That I could have considered, probably should have considered before I began this gluing. And you know what? When this is dried, I probably will just run the stitching around as well, because it will add another look. Oh, brother, here's this. It will add another look to this side of it, and it won't detract from the front. What I should have thought about and talked to you guys about and shown you and considered the options myself is gluing in a self-tie. Wouldn't that have been smart? I know that when I first heard about this journal making and was watching videos and trying to soak up everything and never miss a trick, I was just so mesmerized when people had the foresight to glue pieces of ribbon usually, or sometimes seam binding, in between, like underneath, before they did their finishing layer, because we know that if you, so for instance, oh, I found this. This was some seam binding that I had sort of, I think it was coffee dye. What I could have done, and you'd want to, in fact, the smartest way would be to run a whole length of this. Like, in other words, don't be chintzy and put an inch over here and then, you know, 6 or 8, whatever, a foot over here, and then take another, put another inch here, because that, you know, depending how big and fat your journal might end up being, that might not be good. But what I could have done, or should have done perhaps, was glue, you know, figure out where, put this down, glue this down. Now I would have, let's see, where would I put it? I probably would have put it on top of the felt and under the paper. And then I would have decided how much surplus to have on each side, so that when it closes up, it would be a self-tie. But I missed the boat on that. And that's what I mean about thinking ahead and considering some options. Okay, while this is just setting up here a bit, I was going to say, how did I manage to glue that upside down? But it's not upside down. Who are you kidding? Okay, so we'll just leave this be. Boy, look how crooked this looks. What the heck? What the heck? But then this fabric isn't exactly... Anyway, we will deal with it. And it's best not to bring out your micrometer and measure stuff either. Okay. Let's put this aside and let me show you the results of that. Don't know if it's probably still not dry, but see what I mean? It's still not totally dry. But you can see how some parts ended up a lot darker than others. There. Now that I've disturbed it, it'll probably change again. This is darker, obviously, than the parts beside it. So if you like that sort of grungified look, you didn't know grungified was a word, I bet. If you like that grungified look, you can, now you kind of know how I do that. Okay, so I am pretty darn pleased with how this turned out, even without a self-tie. So I'm going to put this aside and I'll bring in the problem child. Oh, before I do that, now is this, yes, this is right side up as well. Now, of course, I would never run that across the spine area because that just asks for trouble. But you can see that it could be, you know, a pocket in front. It could be two bottoms and pockets. So, again, by sticking this in my little vertical file holder, I don't forget that I have it. Okay. So, you saw the Irma Bombeck book. And you saw the quilt piece from Kim. Now, it was not square. I mean, it was not square. And it also was quite a bit too big. So, probably the little narrow bits I must have thrown away. But this is what I have for bigger pieces. Whoops. For bigger pieces. And let me just say, this was tricky. Oh, I used my rotary cutter and I cut it out. But Mama didn't raise no fool, and I knew that there had to be enough ease to go around this spine. But I also thought, but Hazel, you're zigzagging around, and if you don't cut it the right size, some of that zigzagging might go to waste. Well, tough doo-doo. No, these clamps are just here to kind of hold things together while I still continue to think. This is clearly the front cover because it's got the most stuff going on. Now, you can see that the book cover is visible. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because it is in the same color family. If this was a bright green or a mustard yellow or something really gross, then we'd have another issue, and I'd probably be painting the cover or covering it in some way. So that's one thing to think about. And then I thought, well, okay, I did go to the effort of zigzagging. When it comes time to attach this, what I could do, again, this is not totally, don't put down the scissors. What I could do is just butt this up flush with the edge of the book. And if it shows, so what? And if, as the project progresses, if I decide, well, that's kind of not great, you know, the fabric isn't quite square, the sewing wasn't quite perfect, I could always disguise it with ribbon or lace or something like that. Then that brings us to the front cover, and I'm just holding this upside down so maybe you get a better look. I have about 1 inch here. Now, it seems to me this overall width was, or length, I guess, was about 15 inches, which, when you think about it, if I would have made this any smaller, I could have been, dare I say, SOL, because right now I have this bit to play with here, and who knows, I might end up cutting that flush. In this case, I would begin by gluing the back cover first. Then I would ease it around the spine to make sure there's enough to go around, you know, kind of generously, not baggy, but not stretched tight either because I miscalculated and cut it too short. And then I could decide what to do about this. Now, likewise with the bottom, I kind of thought that I liked the way this looked. So this is close. God, I've got this glue all over me. I have this little bit here. But I wasn't prepared to cut all of this off just yet. So I've got, what, close to 3 inches? Oh, excuse me. 2.5 inches that could make a pocket. And again, I would never run it across here. That would just be crazy. And I end up with another little problem, or not problem. We don't have any problems in the craft room. We have opportunities to learn. I end up with this. Now, I just tucked it in that way because I don't want it flapping around here. But that is obviously unacceptable. That would be way too bulky. So, I'm not going to do anything rash. I'm going to continue to think about this. But I'll tell you which way I'm leaning. I'm leaning towards... in this case, I might look at my double-sided tape and maybe just to use it, lay down some strips and let that help hold things. I would augment it with glue. I don't think I'm prepared to use this on this project. I will try it one day and show you how. I think it needs to be a more straightforward project than something like this. You know, perhaps gluing fabric to an envelope for an envelope journal. That would be easy. This, not quite as. Okay, so I'm thinking double-sided tape and then probably glue around the edges as well. Begin at the back cover. Go, 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 do the spine. And then when I get to this edge, I'm thinking that I would probably end up trimming. And I'm not going to trim ahead of time because nothing is square and plumb and true. because I would want it to be the same as the other 4 sides. So if this factory cover lip here is showing on 3 sides, I would want it to be the same here. Or I could also at that point consider trim of some sort, some lace. Now, would that look dumb if it's just on the front cover, not the back? Well, I still have the opportunity to add it to the back if I want to. I'm also thinking, but again, I'm not going to do it right this minute because I need more time to think, is that I'm inclined to, once I have this glued, of course, this would be taken. This would be off because, of course, I'd be busy gluing. And then I would see exactly where to cut this. Again, flush, maybe even with a rotary cutter, so it's a nice clean edge. It will no longer be zigzagged, however. So that is a consideration. I cannot very well zigzag it. Mind you, you know what I could do? See, it helps to talk to you guys and talk this through. What I could do, handy dandy pencil, come on. You know, when these things don't cooperate, I feel like chucking them. Oh, I have another one. Okay. What I can do, even right this minute, because those clamps are holding it pretty good, is I can draw a line. Whoops, there's my thumb. I can draw a line. Draw a line the entire length of this expanse. Whoops, let's not veer off where the spine is. Cut along there. No, better still. Let's just take this to the next step here. Although I won't be sewing in front of you, but okay. So what I can do is once the video's over, bring my sewing machine back onto this table, zigzag, probably on the left side of this line, thinking before I talk, cutting after the fact, making sure I don't snip my zigzags along this line or wherever, you know, as close to that, wherever it needs to be cut. Let's just put it that way. So then I still have a finished edge at the bottom here. I then also will have this scrap piece. Actually, I could, you know what, I could run 2 lines of zigzagging with that pencil line in between. And then I'll have this 2.5 inch wide scrap that has been zigzagged around. Is that not smart? And then once I get the gluing done, as I've indicated I would be doing, if I still would have surplus, presumably, I can then decide, do I want to, because this will all be gone. This will all be gone. I could then turn back whatever is left here, have a little tuck or whatever. My zigzagging shows. The front cover, which takes probably the most abuse, will have a nice smooth finished edge. Now it won't show the red cover, but that's okay. And because we made, don't forget that we made this, T is for top. The signatures will get sewn into here, and I will then have the opportunity to cover this with something. Fabric, I wouldn't use this, probably too thick. And not probably, it is too thick. So I could use paper, I could use fabric. I'll glue that down. But I also then have the opportunity, let me write that in. I'm just going to write that right here. Self-tie, question mark, question mark, question mark. As a reminder that I could do that idea on this cover. Now, in fact, let's take a gander at that. Pretend that's already been all glued down. That would look pretty cool, I think. I don't have any pink sari silk. I only have a little bit, and most of the time I never use it. So there you have it. Proof yet again that you don't have to have what all the cool kids have. I would see people making stuff with sari silk. I'm thinking, I want sari silk. Silk just sounds so good. Blah, 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 blah. And then I looked at some of the prices, you know, and I thought, ooh, that's a little rich for my taste. And am I going to stop at one color? Am I going to go boring, like with some natural color? No, I want every color under the rainbow. So I ended up putting on my Christmas list maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And I ended up with one hank, or whatever you call it, that is mostly orangey, coppery, that sort of family. Okay, I don't know how we're doing for time. Oh, close to an hour again. But I'm so glad I talked this through with you guys, because I think it was good for you, but it was also good for me to do a little on-the-spot problem solving. And again, if as this progresses, I still feel like I want to zhuzh it up a little more, I could always add lace. Or, don't forget, but this might be the wrong, I also have this that would be, whoops, I'm getting a little, that it would be easy to forget about. I got that. Now that black is too harsh, so that's not going to happen. That's too pink. This maybe is close, or could be, or I cut part of it. Now this is one of those really thick ones, but I could cut part of that up and do a little bit of layering. This is too hot pink. This could be perfect. Well, not this flashy edge here, but you see how these variegated threads here, not just ignore that part. But again, I don't want to cover up too much of that quilt, because that's the star of the show here. Here's another one. You know, so there are ways to add some more textile-y bits to this. And earlier today, I pre-taped a haul video that got missed. I added some textiles to a haul video that I was taping that didn't make the round, the one that should have, because I hadn't ironed them yet. So there are a few elements in there that could also be part of the solution here. But again, we're a ways away from that point. So I hope that, oh, and here are the little snippets that I kind of put together And I was supposed to be hand sewing these. Maybe I'll do this tonight. It is a Friday night as I'm taping this, so sorry if there were shadows and whatever. It's almost dark. Oh, and by the way, one of these days we'll be hit with daylight saving time, spring forward, lose an hour of sleep, get all buggered up again as to what time should the body be awake and should it be asleep. Did you know that the Monday when spring, I probably said this last year, that when the clocks go ahead that 1 hour, there is an increase in the number of motor vehicle accidents that Monday. So be careful out there when the time comes. Anyway, I'm glad that there's now a plan. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you are enjoying this process. All this talking and showing you what the possibilities are. When I see a cover like this, I feel like doing another one. But we also know that I have other things to do, so it might not be happening very soon. Maybe I have to use at least half of the ones I have pre-done before I can start a new one. How's that for a deal? Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here. You really helped me today. Please hit the subscribe button. Please like and please comment on these videos because, you know, it makes YouTube's day. Thanks, guys. Bye.